Today is a very, very special day for the world around the globe. It is the International Day of Families. International Day of Families is a great opportunity for us to engage on matters family. Glory Outreach Assembly, GOA, is always or has always been a ministry that prioritized family. Family is our top priority, and we do prioritize family because we believe that it is from the family unit, which is the smallest unit in a society, where we raise children. We know it is from the family unit that we have the opportunity to grow, to develop, to train the children as the Bible tells us. Proverbs 22 verse 6, train a child in the way they grow, and when they grow up, they will not depart from it. So GOA prioritizes family because it forms the foundation of our GOA culture, GOA vision. It forms the foundation of everything else that we do. And therefore, over the last 33 years of GOA, we have seen the dynamics of change in the family. And today being the International Day of Families, where our nation, Kenya, which is a part of the United Nations initiatives, or that marks this day, the Kenyan nation has chosen the environment as the theme and its effect on the families. And I really love the Swahili statement, kuhifadhi jamii na mazingira yetu. And as we engage on this subject, on this International Family Day, it is important to redefine our mazingira or culture, because the environment that we used to bring up the family 33 years ago has changed dynamically. The environment that the family used to grow in the traditional African society has changed dynamically. The family has always been under threat of both internal factors and external factors. And that's one main reason why I admire the theme for the Kenyans' observation of this day, protection of the family and the environment, because the environment has changed tremendously. In the traditional African society, the environment was so friendly for the family. We had people whom we used to refer to as extended family members, who always, it was their primary concern on how the families grow. And the family grew as a one unit, a homogeneous community whereby everyone cares for the life, about the welfare of the other one. And it was the responsibility of every person in the society, in the traditional African family, to ensure that every member of the family did well or succeeded. We had uncles and aunties, we had grandparents, we had parents, and like the community that I come from, it was believed and traditionally stated clearly that a child does not belong to the father or the mother, but belongs to the community. That statement is a statement of responsibility. It is a statement of communal bringing up of children, for example. But the family has been affected by the rural-urban migration, where in search of white-collar jobs, where people came to the cities, and so they got disconnected with their family in the rural areas, or their traditional values were lost. People became so busy. People came to the cities, and they became so busy in doing their jobs, which again affects the families. The modern technology has also affected the family. That is the environment in which we are bringing up the family, or the family is growing, which is very much threatened by the factors of that are external and internal. The foreign factors has also come in very strong. Uh, so we can no longer claim that we are neither by ourselves. With the modern technology, with the advancement in technology, with which has brought in the various foreign ideologies, some of them are quite foreign into the family growth in this nation. And therefore, I take this International Family Day and join the list of the people who believe in prioritizing the family, and speak on behalf of the family that we must defend and protect the family from both the internal and the external forces that are within the environment, that are not healthy, that do not contribute to the strengthening of the families. Some of them includes work. We must come up with a way of defining how we are going to integrate the family and our work ethics, so that the environment that we have in the family is friendly to the growth of the family. Since COVID 2019, the family became a great threat and attack, because people took work into the home, and they took gadgets into the house, where much of their time is spent in working and connecting. Many families have Wi-Fi's in the house. Others have phones all over the place. It is not unusual to find phones around the dining table, where every person is engaged in their phone when they're having a meal. So we no longer have that family time where people look at each other on the face and exchange love and express the love for each other and express concern. Children have no longer opportunities to ask the hard questions that they would want to ask, because everybody is busy with their gadgets, with their work, and some are still going late, coming late home, leaving early. So some children have been left to the house helps to take care of them, take them to school, prepare them, receive them back in the evening. People are searching for more paying jobs in terms of shift, going to extra shifts at night, and no more time together, either with the children or with the spouses. So all these are both external and internal factors that affect the family. But probably the greatest challenge that seems to have come recently through our education system, through our media, through technology, is the whole conversation of the LGBT plus. That seems to have become a very big attack into the family unit. And it is important that we understand on this International Day of Families that it is not necessary to define the family again, because God, in His good book, has already defined the family, and it is clearly defined as a husband and wife, male and female. Uh, Anything else outside that is for our own making. And our African traditional society has never been for this other aspects of families that are being promoted through the LGBTQ plus. So if we stop redefining the family and take God's definition, I think we will be safe. That is why I am very much impressed by the theme that the Kenyan people have adapted, the promoting the hifadhi jamii katika hii mazingira, or in this environment that we are in, where already it is attacked by foreigners with new definition, new ideologies. We must protect it. And I personally believe that one way of doing this is protecting it in the Constitution, and actually doing some constitutional amendments. And that's why we support the Honorable Karuma bill that seeks to protect the family in Parliament constitutionally. And it is important on this International Family Day that we realize that part of the environment that we are raising children in the schools, in the universities, in the colleges, has already been infiltrated by these foreign ideologies. And unless we firmly protect the family constitutionally, and then it will be very difficult for us to stop the infiltration or the attacks from external forces within the families. So I take this opportunity on this International Family Day to encourage the church, to encourage the politicians, to encourage any leader anywhere to stand up for the family values, stand up for the ethics, stand up for the values that we would want to see in the future in our children. And let us also be interested in knowing what they are running in the schools. And the teachers who teach them also need to question the curriculum, the manuals. We need to interrogate what our children are running in the schools and be able to see how much this is protecting our families. If we are going to keep our family safe and secure, it means that we must be concerned with life, that we should not make it very easy to have an abortion. We should not make it very easy to terminate the life of a child, because the life of a child begins at birth, at conception, not at birth, at conception. The moment that male and female has come together, and the two XY things have come together, that becomes a life, and we cannot talk about terminating. Neither can we support abortion under any circumstances, because life is God-given, and it's only God who can take away the life. So on this International Family Day, we would want to clearly and come out clearly and strongly and say that we support the family, we support the life of a child right from conception all the way to death. And if we have already begun questioning the death sentence of a person, of a criminal, and we have begun questioning that and even declaring that unconstitutional and declaring that inhuman, it means that we should not only be concerned with the very end of life, where we are saying that a criminal should not be killed through capital punishment, and yet we would want to kill a baby at conception. It should be protecting the life of children right from conception all the way, and leave it to God, who alone gives life, to have the right to take it away. So we are for families, and we would want to see the Kenyan society bring up families in an environment that is godly, an environment that does not threaten the sustainability of the family, an environment that is not just the physical environment, which is important. For us, for example, as GOA, we have institutional families. We raise children under institutions. And right now we have already begun to engage on the government proposal for 2032, which again gives us the opportunity for having families, foster institutional kingship and all that. But the environment that we bring them up, we bring them in an environment that probably may not be the very best compared to bringing them up in a family setting, not because we have options, but because the families are not there. So the environment in which we bring the family, whether it is in the institution or whether it is a nuclear family or wherever we bring up the children, it is important that we know that environment will shape those children. But in our opinion, it is better to bring them up in an environment of an institution, rather than bring them in an environment of the street where already nobody cares, where their basic needs are not met. We in GOA, we take the gospel to the very marginalized and very unreached people groups. And one of the challenges that we face there is the water crisis, that people have no access to clean water. They live in such an environment where they have no access to clean water. In this time and age, clean water should be accessible to everyone. When we go to places like Lodwar, where we have drilled and sunk boreholes, people spend a whole day going to look for water only to come back with 20 liters of water. That kind of an environment is open or vulnerable to sicknesses, and therefore what people may take for granted elsewhere, that they live in an environment where they can easily access the water, it is no longer accessible to some of the places in this country. So on this International Family Day, can we think of how we can make certain basic things like water, clean water, accessible to people in some of the marginalized areas by sinking boreholes, by filtration of that water, by ensuring that people can easily get that water. Of course, these people become sick because of the water they drink, and when they become sick, again, they cannot access free health care. The environment that some of our people grow in, an environment where they cannot access even education, even adults. So GOA has got to go and initiate adult literacy, because people cannot access adult education. So the environment that we are growing in needs to be improved from a local, an individual personal level, to a national level, to an international level. And therefore, when the United Nations engage in the conversations of International Family Day, I think it is important that we think about these marginalized people. They cannot access health. They cannot access water. That's the environment they are living in. They cannot. They live in a cycle of poverty, in a poverty cycle, because even their income per day is so low. They're not employed. So the same people who have no water, the same people have no clean water, the same people become sick of waterborne diseases. The same people have no jobs to educate their children, and they are the same people who never got education at this time and age. So we cannot limit our conversation on this International Family Day to just nuclear families who are living in cities or urban areas. We must look at those who are unreached, who are marginalized, who are in areas where they're even struggling with mosquito, malaria at this time and age. And people are living in areas where water is stagnant, because that environment is not friendly for their health. And therefore, malaria is still a challenge, even in this time and age that we are in. So this is a very special day, but for us to engage on issues, on matters family, but we must protect the family from external and internal factors, whether they have to do with climate change, or whether the factors have to do with internal struggles that Mama Mboga is struggling with to put food at the table. That's the environment they live in. We must address those issues with a view to changing the environment in which these people raise in. The International Family Day for 2024 has come at a time when we are facing floods in Kenya, and this part of the explanation that we are receiving is because of, as a result of, climate change. So we cannot therefore ignore the environment in relation to the family with the floods that we are facing in. I therefore appeal to the government, to the church leaders, to every person on an individual level, to do their best to promote an environment that would lead to less of the climate change effects that we are facing, like the floods and many other effects that we are facing. If it means planting a tree, let's go do it. If it means going green and just planting green vegetables, organic, within our own homesteads, let's do it. If it means whatever we can be able to do on an individual level to protect our environment, let's do it, because we are the people who suffer. The International Family Day is coming when we have seen how cruel and how harsh water can be through the Mai Mahio disaster, where water completely became very, very merciless in the destruction of lives, in the destruction of property, in the destruction of everything that the water came across. But when we look at the causes of all this, we also find that some of the causes are environmental causes that we probably would have prevented. We find some people sometimes build on the waterway, either for reasons known to them or unknown, but the waterway remains the waterway. We find other places, out of ignorance, people will block the water or make a catchment area change from the course of the water or the path, because they need the water for various reasons. Again, it goes back to the water and making it accessible. So in the current floods that we are facing, and at the face of the cruel, merciless effects of the water at Mai Mahio area, we should be able, and other areas too, we should be able to address the causes, the root causes of the climate change and the root causes of the effects that we are seeing today, so that we do not all the time have to respond to the symptoms, or rather just the effects of the effects of, like feeding the hungry people, like we are feeding the hungry people now. We are relocating the internally displaced people. But if we address the causes and bigger causes, which may include corruption, because it's difficult to really talk about families and environment without addressing corruption, because some of the properties some of the areas where people have built their homes and their businesses, some of them is clearly known that they are schools. There are areas that were left by those who planned the cities for building schools, recreational facilities. Some of them are waterways, and people built there. So water is trying to find its path, and in the process, it is becoming very, very destructive. So we must, in this wake of floods, as we talk about the International Day of Prayer, we must address bigger causes like corruption that are affecting the families. So now we have to relocate families, we have to feed families, we have to actually bury people who have died. But for how long can we do that? And one life lost is one too many, especially if the cause is environmental and could be addressed. And if the cause has to do with corruption, then we must address those issues, and they must form part of our conversation on this International Family Day. And with that, I want to wish the families internationally blessed time of International Family Day. Enjoy life with your family. Do whatever you can to create an environment that would be friendly to your family, where the consequences and the effects are not disastrous, something that you enjoy. All of us can do something to make our environment friendly for our family. On this particular day, we can create a better environment and prepare ourselves adequately for the climate change resulting from the family day that we are having. May God bless family. May God bless our nation. May God bless the world on this International Family Day. And may we focus and prioritize the family, because that is where we develop leaders. That is where we grow the future generations. It is within the family that we inculcate the values that we want to see. It is within the families that we produce the kind of future generations that we want to have. A strong family will produce a strong constituency, a strong village, a strong nation, and a strong nation will produce a strong East Africa community. A strong East Africa community will produce a strong African continent and at large the world. It must all start from prioritizing the family and building those values within the family. God bless the family institution. God bless all those who are charged with the responsibilities of defending the family so that they can protect the families. We must protect the family. Tuhifadhi jamii, tuhifadhi mazingira yetu kwa ajili ya jamii yetu. Tufanye kile ambacho tunaweza kufanya ili tuhifadhi jamii na mazingira yetu. Asante.